I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was just trying to bring out a good example or good number of categories of systems so that I can take it up and I can explain about on this. Just give me 1 second. Okay, let me get started. Let's go ahead with what you meant by performance testing. So now, because where we are coming from here is, as you know, that we do have the manual testing around this particular manual testing. So we will be having the functional testing and non-functional testing. Under the non-functional testing, it will be classified into compatibility testing, classified into the performance testing, and then it will be classified into the security testing, and then all non-functional objects verification. So these categories of testing would be happen. So now there are 4 classifications which we do have. Now, when it comes to this particular performance, what do you mean by performance testing? And first of all, if you understand, then we will be having the different categories of testing which we will be trying to learn. Coming back to here, performance. Now, what do you mean by performance? So now, usually we will be having it. So here we will be having triple S. The triple S means first one, scalability, stability, and speed. So these all things will determine your performance of an application. I think when we have been given an introduction to when we given an introduction on the testing classifications, I think we have been talked about the importance of the performance testing, and when we have the different layers in the testing pyramid. So at the performance, so what is the importance of the performance testing we have been discussed. As I told you, the performance is one of the most prominent and very important category of testing. Example, now as I told you, right? So when we have an Amazon application and when we have a Flipkart application, so in the big billion day, there would be some lakhs and crores of people would be on the website. If you think that the website, because of that particular load, if it is crashed, then what they need to do? Complete the business will go away. And because of the load, if the application performance is slow, can they do it? For an example, now I'm placing an order. I selected a kickboxing bag. So now on that particular kickback boxing bag, now I do selected this one, and then I went to the payment, and then here it was stopped. It was crashed. Now, will I come continuously? I'll try for the second time, and it was crashed. And third time I tried, it is crashed. Will I go on once again, put the order here?
No.
Then I'll go for the other website, and then I'll try to place my order there. So now when I lost this particular business, how much business I'll be losing? And for an example, if I'm searching for a kickboxing, so a bag, so if you're taking that, hey, how much time to load that particular page, means if it is taking within fraction of milliseconds, it will be loading. Assume that it is loading at a speed of 1 minute, 2 minutes. Will we wait and then we will see it? So immediately we will jump for other websites. So that is a reason. So we have to be very much cautious. And then I told you that with an example that 3 to 4 seconds of delay, which it causes the 100 million rupees for the Amazon in the Great Indian Sale. This is original statistics. Now you go for any particular applications, the performance testing is one of the most critical and the vital thing which we need to do on this one. So under the, how the particular performance of an application would be measured. So the performance would be measured in terms of speed. So now when I have been searching for something, for an example, now when I have been searching here, something like I'll go for an application and then I'll try to do that so that it will be very much clear to this. So here now I wanted to search for shoes. So now when I clicked it, see how much fast it was able to present me. So how much within fraction of seconds it was able to present me on this. So now here if I wanted to present that, see how fast it was presenting it to me. Now if it is taking 1 minute or 2 minutes, so will it be there? So now what is it was happening at? So internally, whatever I do have search for thing, so this particular thing, the keyword it is taking and it is going to the server in the backend where I have my DB. It will search for this particular kickboxing gloves in the server, and then it will try to get that particular page and present it back. So example, I'll draw the picture here. Now I'm the client. From here, I was searching it. Now taking this particular keyword, whatever the keyword which we have been given, it went to the server, and in the server, I search for this, I get that particular data and I presented it back this. So now all this particular turnaround has been completed within the fraction of seconds. So this is the algorithms and the backend code which they will be writing it. So this is where they will be writing the codes in the APIs. Anyways, that's not relevant now. So this is how that getting this and then doing it. And now once the data get back to it, means the data means all these colors and all. Now you need to understand another thing is, so the page load means here we got the data, but I need to present it in this particular format, right? With all colors and then with all this particular data, I wanted to present it, right? So now that particular presentation, so which you are seeing it here now, all the cards and then the name and the sizes and then the price of this one and the rating of this one and what the deal of the day for this one. So we have all this particular information, right? So this is from the front end page load. Means here we need to concentrate on two things. One is from the client and the server. When we requested, it will hit the server, get the data back. And here, once we got that particular data, it need to be presented it into the normal view in the front end UI. So I need to validate my UI page. Means this is front end, right? And this is all things are back end. Now I need to go and get the data. Once I got the data, I'll presenting that particular data. So now presenting is the UI layer. Getting this particular data is a backend layer. So now what are the things which I can need to do the performance testing is? I need to do my performance testing from the front end page and then backend data also, the backend logic also. So the performance testing can be done it in 3 layers. One is in the UI layer and in the backend layer, and one is in the infrastructure layer also. So these are the 3 places where we can do the performance testing. So now here what we are trying to do is the speed is what we are first validating it. So this is the first S, speed. Now scalability. For example, scalability means what? Scaling. Scaling means what?
Measuring.
Okay.
Measuring.
Extendable.
See, now for an example, this particular application can be used by 100 people. Now I need to extend this particular application for 1,000 people. I'm scaling this from 100 to 200. See, for an example, normally 10 lakh means 1 lakh users would be using for normal days. But when it is a big day or big sales day, Amazon sales day, it will scale for 10 lakhs to 30 lakhs people per day. So this can be scaled. So now this is called scaling this particular application. So now always the application should be, the performance would be measured in terms of scaling. Why we should have to do the scaling? Example, my application can be taken for 1,000 users, capacity for 1,000 users. Now what it happened, suddenly 10,000 users have been given on this. Can it sustain? Because it is not scalable, means it was not able to take the load of 10,000 people. Then what it will happen? The application get crashed. So this is how the scalability is more important. Now, how this particular scalability can be done? So now here, I'll not get into the details of terminologies, but I at least try to give you a few terms, which is horizontal scaling and then vertical scaling. Okay, what do you mean by horizontal scaling? For an example, you went for a hotel. We 5 friends, we went there and we are sitting it. So one server will come and take me the order. Now all my friends, we went. So we are 23 people. So all 23 people, we went for the hotel. So now when we went for this particular hotel, can one server can serve all these people? What he will do, immediately he will call, hey, you also come with me. He will bring another 3 people, 3 servers for me so that he can take the help of others. And once they have it, this guy will say that you guys can go away. So now, based upon the load, what this server did, he brought up the new people to serve the people. The similar way, I have an application server, where application server means, okay, I don't want to ask you the question. Application server is nothing but the application which deployed on that server is called application server. Now, for this particular server, I can load, means I know that this can serve for 1,000 people. So now, when the load comes at 600, immediately what it will do is, it will create a duplicate server like the same. See, as it is, it will clone. Clone means it will come like a same Xerox copy, another server. Once again, this is app server 2. Same code, same application, everything. It will create a new instance and it will replicate the code. Now, what it will try to do is, because by reaching 600, it is the server is assuming that, hey, I'll get 1,000. Immediately, the remaining 400, what it will do is, it will send the 400 to this. Now, if you see here, 600 here, 400 here. Because they know that this can load, this can handle this particular load. If it is more load, then it will be trying to send it to this particular server. So now what it was happening? So now we have, as the increasing load, it was having it. So now if once again, it will wait for another 600 and still I'm getting another more than 600, then it will spin up another instance. And then it will give that particular load. So this is called load balancing concepts. And these things, see now what I'm trying to explain you as scalability. So first one we have been discussed speed. Now next one is scalability. So the scalability is nothing but when you scale a particular application. So how the load would be generated. So the application should have the capability for doing the scalability testing. So this is called horizontal scaling. And the vertical scaling. The vertical scaling is nothing but, hey, my server capacity, my hard disk. So my server capacity is, I will be having the server capacity for 8 GB RAM. Increase it to 16 GB RAM, 32 GB RAM, 64 GB RAM. So based upon the load, so I'm increasing the system capability, system capacities, system configurations. So then this is called vertical scaling. Horizontal scaling, vertical scaling. So this is how the scalings will happen. So this is what second S. Now third S, speed, scalability, and stability. The most important thing is stability. Stability is nothing but, it talks about how stable your application is. See now, one of the most biggest examples, whenever some people was talking about the performance testing, the most right example is IRCTC. Because many of the examples can be derived in the IRCTC website, because we know Tatkal tickets, right? So we wanted to book the Tatkal tickets, right? At one given point of time, for an example, morning 10 o'clock, I'll open non-AC sleeper, and 11 o'clock, I can open the AC sleeper. At that point of time, see, till 9 o'clock and every time, so there would be not much big load till 9:50. But at 10 o'clock, there would be very huge load every day, because we will be booking the Tatkal tickets for every day, right? So now when we try to book that particular ticket, so at that given point of time, there would be a very heavy load, which it can be having it. At that point of time, what it used to happen, when you go for the payment itself, the application getting crashed. Or when you selected the passengers and enter the name, at that point itself, it will be crashed. So this is what the problem. So the stability of the application. Stability means whether the application is stable or not. Stable means, see, whatever it happened, the application should be stable. It means, I hope you guys are understanding what you meant by stable.
Yes, sir.
Whatever it happened, we will be sustaining. So that is what stable. See, firmly fixed means whatever. For an example, if someone is coming and hitting us, so we will be firmly stand and we'll give the answer. So even though he is hitting, that doesn't make any difference in us. So that's the stud, and that's the stable will be doing. And whatever the arguments was happening, we are very stable in nature. So whatever you talk, I'll be very stable. So that is where the stability, that is what the examples of the stability which we need to have. So now whenever there is a heavy load in the application, but still the application is very stable, means because of the load, the application is performing as normal. So stable means it is performing as normal, even with a great force, means having an opponent with great forces. So this is called stability. So this is what the third S. Guys, I'm not explaining the RRR movie. I'm explaining this stability, speed, and scalability. Okay, this is the third yes, which we do have it. Okay, so now these three factors, now whatever the three factors which we have been told, so these three factors combine to form the performance testing. See, the people will say, what is a performance testing? It's testing the performance of an application is called a test, means a performance testing. See, now you can cook up your means the story content and with the example. If you're not telling me with the example, and if you are telling me the definitions, means you are seeing somewhere else, you are telling me the definitions. I least bother if you're telling me the bookish definitions. I bother when you are telling me with an example, then only I can understand that you understand the concept. Okay, coming back here, I just, once again, I don't want to deviate. So I wanted to come back. So now this is what called as performance testing. So the performance testing is measured, these three S's, and then means the three S's for an application, the speed, stability, scalability of an application. And when it comes to the performance testing, there are different type of classification of testings are there. Every testing, always you remember that every testing will have the objective. So now the performance testing's objective is to destroy the applications. Security testing, to make the break the security chain of the system. That is what the security testing objective. And performance testing objective is to break the stability. Means we need to know, right, what is your maximum capacity? We should understand it, right? So to understand that capacity, we will perform all this particular performance testing. And we also know that what is your benchmarks. Hey, how much he can sustain. For an example, in the movies, the hero will be hit for last 1 hour. He can sustain, and at last he will be collapsed. Means the stability or sustainability of that particular hero is for that particular song. Right? The same way, how this particular application is stable and how much load it can take. So stable means performing the normal action, even under the great pressure. Now let's take the example of load test. Load test. What do you mean by load test? Okay, I said I will not ask you the question. Okay, load test. Load test is nothing but, for an example, there is an application. Consider that this application, now what example, we take an Ola example. In this Ola application, I given 1,000 users at concurrent point of time. What is concurrent? Means at the same given point of time. At the same given point of time. This is called concurrent. So now at the same point of time, I have 1,000 users. Now what they need to do? They'll be searching for a cab and they will be selecting for what the car variant, either it is an SUV or they wanted mini or the prime sedan. They wanted. They select that and they will book the order. And it will be rotating around the area, nearing the area for a 5-kilometer radius. So whatever the cabs are there, it was looking for that particular cab. Right? So now this is what the functionality of this. They'll be waiting for this now. Now 1,000 users are doing this one. Now I'll increase this one to 2,000. What I'm trying to do, I'm giving a load on the application, and what I'm trying to test here, speed.
Then it breaks.
Speed.
No, breaking point, I'll not check it in the load test.
Yes, yes. Endurance
The speed of
testing
the
and stress
application.
testing, which
See, in stress testing only I'll be doing that,
Yeah.
not in these one. So now what are the things I'll be measuring now? I'll be checking the speed, stability, scalability.
stability.
So now these are the objectives of this particular testing. I'll give this particular load to the application and see under this particular pressure, so how the application will perform. So this is called load testing. It is very simple example. So
Load will be in the permissible limit of that application in load testing.
yes. So now when I explain you about the differences, you can understand. Okay, let me jump into this stress and then I'll tell it to you. So now, what is stress testing? See, now I know the capacity of this particular Ola is maximum 5,000 users
Don't break it.
concurrent. Now what I'll try to do is I'll give 4,500 and I'll give 4,800. I give 5,000, 5,100, 5,200. I'll make sure that the application is destroyed. I wanted to make sure that, hey, this is the break-even point. The maximum load the application can take is 5,200. I bring out that particular break-even point. That's the objective of this stress testing. So I'll get that particular break-even point. And after that particular break-even point, I'll also see that one whether it was recovering properly or not. See, now for an example, this is where the recovery testing will comes into the picture. Now what I'll try to do, I'll break the system. Once after breaking the system, I will see that what the error messages are coming. And once after that particular error message, is it going normal to this one? So now the payment, I wanted to do a payment transaction here. Suddenly the payment transaction was aborted. First it was showing that transaction in progress. Transaction failed. Now when the transaction failed, immediately it should throw me an error message saying that, don't worry, your payment is safe. So either it would be deducted back to your account or it would be there, it would be sent to merchant. Please wait for some time. If the payment is not there, it will be processed back to your bank account. If you see this message, you'll be relaxed. And now what it need to be, it need to come to back to the home page, normal home page. So this is what the recovery, or this is what it is called as a resilience testing. Nowadays, the resilience is one of the most popular category of testing. Resilience means self-healing. So now I encountered with a problem, I started to recover myself. So this is called resilience testing. Now there are multiple tools in the market, and this is a very rare skill set. People have this particular category of testing, resilience testing. Now actually there are multiple tools. This was introduced and invented by Netflix. So they created certain tools like Chaos Gorilla, Chaos Monkey. So the tool names are this. So you can just browse it about that. So this is what the resilience means. they have been occurred with an accident or something, it happened, but it will heal by themselves. So this is called resilience. And now actually see, every invention is learned from the nature. In nature, few animals or few things, means for an example, the snake or lizard, it will cut the tail. Means if suddenly for any situation, the tail is cut for a lizard. For some days, the tail will be once again, it will be normal.
Regrow.
So that regrow will happen. So how it would be happen is that's the nature, and then that's the DNA of that particular animals. So means self-healing capabilities. There is no doctors for lizards, right? So how it would be coming to the normal. So this is how the resilience happens. So now that particular resilience is trying to give it in the application. Hey, some problem occurred. I need to recover back from this one. So how I need to recover it? Step by step, I need to recover. I need to show the proper messaging structure, and then what it happened and where I need to go back. So this is what the steps which will be happen over here. So this is what the stress testing. The objective of the stress testing is where I can break my break-even point, and I'll see that how I'll be recovering back. See, I remember this example. So before 15 years, I'm talking to one of my friend on this one. He told me one example. Still, I remember when I talk about the stress testing. There is a rubber band. You will drag that particular rubber band to stretch it, and then you see. And you'll see that, okay, how much time it can be sustained and how much long distance, the maximum long distance I can drag that rubber band, and I'll see it. So this is what the load testing. And the maximum endpoint when the rubber band broken, because I have been gone beyond the limit of that particular size. When I gone beyond the size, the rubber band was broken. So now that is called the break-even point. So when the rubber band is broken, now how it would be coming back? So once broken, it will come to the normal size. It comes to the recovery position, but it will not attach. But it would be, means that already it failed. It failed, but it can come to the normal with that particular breakage. So that is what the stress testing. So stress testing objective is to break the system. And once the system is broken, then we will be seeing it. Hey, now whether it is recovering properly or not. So that is the objective of the stress testing. And the objective of the load testing is when we given an appropriate load to the application and see how the application is performing in terms of speed, scalability, and then scalability and stability. So that is what we'll be checking over here. So this is called a load testing. So this is load and stress. Now come to the spike testing. Spike testing is nothing but, for an example, you went for your, not for us, so I'll take it for some example, random example. We usually go to hospitals, right? We'll be seeing an ECG machine. It comes like this. Means your heart beats, certain times it goes high, low, high, low. If you're stressed out, it will go high. And if you come to normal, you'll be having this. The heartbeat range, when you're running, you will have high heartbeat. When you are standing, and when you're doing some exercises, your heartbeat will increase and it will decrease, right? So this will be your graph. So now here, if you see this is what we call as spikes, right? The same way, there is an application. This is first a second. I'm talking in terms of seconds, okay? Like this, I have 60 seconds. Now, on first second, I given one normal user, and second, I don't have any second, any users. And 2.5 second, I have 10 users, and third second, I don't have users. I give 100 users in the fourth second and dropped nothing on fifth second. And I have given 200 users on sixth second, and I have given 7th second, 800, 900, like that. I have been given the spikes, and then I have been dropped, and I'll be doing them. Now, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to keep my extreme conditions on the application. So I was trying to give abrupt spikes. Means I was giving 100, 10, 200, 0, 500, 200, 500, 200, 500, 200, 300, 1. Means randomly, whatever the number you wanted to give it, you're giving the abrupt users on the application and see how, when you're given the users, the application is behaving, whether the application is behaving normal or not. So to know So you will be keeping the extreme conditions. For an example, you will be watching some movies. So for an example, if the hero wanted to be trained on kickboxing, or on anything, so the people would be keeping him under extreme pressure. The trainer will come and hit him, or the trainer will do whatever the things we have. I think everyone is assuming the Tamudu movie, Pavan Kalyan's. So when he does this and that, and see, now we wanted to keep in extreme conditions so that the real performance of that particular person will come out. The same way, when we given an extreme conditions to that particular application, we will be seeing that where this particular application speed will be decreased, stability will be decreased, scalability will be decreased. That is what the objective of this. Here, how we will test is different. See, now here our testing is different. Here our testing is different. Here our testing is different. But ultimately, what we are trying to do is this. So now in this spike, what we are trying to do is we will give an abrupt spikes to the application, and then we will see it, how abrupt users we will give it to the application, and see these three things: stability, scalability, and speed of this application. That is called spike testing. And actually, this is one pattern. There will be other pattern also. Regular spike. Now for an example, 1 minute I will wait and I'll give 10 users. Once again, 1 minute I'll wait, 10 users. Once again, I'll give 1 minute, 10 users. 1 minute, 10 users. And then I'll reduce 10 users, 1 minute. I'll reduce. Now, this is called ramping up and ramping down. Ramping up means with a regular interval of time, I'm giving certain load. Means for every minute, I'll be giving 10 users. Like that, it ramped up. And I'll decrease that one also. Same, every minute, I'll decrease 10 users. This is called a ramping up or ramping down of the users. So this is called, so there are different patterns in the spike test.
Sir, the second one will be more easy to analyze. What happened?
See, actually, we should know one thing. We should be structured sometimes, and we should be unstructured sometimes to know the stability of the application. This is a structured pattern. This is unstructured pattern. But more number of bugs can be identified in unstructured patterns. Because everyone will design the system for the structured things.
Systematic.
So that is where if you given an unstructured things, so that we can really get understood what's the problem is. So that is where the spike. So now we understood load, stress, spike. Now scalability. So we discussed about this one, scalability testing. I told you, right? One server, it have the capacity of taking the horizontal scaling. So this is called scalability testing. Capacity of 1000. So now when it reaching to the 600, it gives an alarm. Hey, create another server and then shift this particular 400 to these people. And now once again, it is increasing. Then it will go for another server. Now the load is decreasing. Then it will destroy this server. Then the load is decreasing. This destroy the server and come back with the normal server. So this is what the scalability testing. It's a pure hardcore scaling. So this is called auto scaling. This is at the infrastructure level, we will be testing this one. Scalability of the application, whether it can scalable for the users or not. So, for an example, if there is 1,000 users, see, every day I don't want 10 servers to be on. So, for an example, there is a hotel. In a hotel, 1 day, 2 days, we'll have heavy rush on Saturdays, Sundays. And remaining days, it's normal. For that one, on Saturdays, Sundays, I'll be having a high peak load. So will I recruit 100 people on that because based upon this? Because 5 days in a week, they are idle. What I'll do, so for Saturday and Sunday, I'll hire the people to come and work. And the remaining days, I'll have 1 or 2 people. That would be enough for me, right?
Yes.
So that is how the auto scaling will be done. So this is what the scalability testing. And the next one is endurance. Endurance is nothing but we have different names also. Longevity test, soak test. All these things are also part of endurance testing. What do you mean by longevity, soak, or endurance means? Okay, let's understand the meaning of soaking. What do you mean by soaking?
One question in scalability. Scalability, does we only consider scaling on the basis of accommodating number of high availability of users or the high traffic, or on the basis of memory conventions also we scale?
That is what I explained. Right? So the scalability can be done in horizontal scaling and the vertical scaling.
Okay.
Horizontal scaling is deploying on this. Vertical scaling is on the configurations of the system. So this topic we have been already discussed in terms of explaining the second S, the scalability.
Yes.
We discussed, right? So that is where we can have the vertical scaling and then horizontal scaling. So one, we will be increasing the capacity of the system, which is called vertical scaling, increasing the capacity of the on demand base. When it required, it will do. So horizontal scaling or auto scaling in terms of creating the new service, addressing the request, and decommissioning after the load is decreased. We will be using the load balancing concepts to do that. So that is where I explain you with a layman terms over here. Got it? Any other questions? Okay. So any other questions from anyone? Load stress, spike, scalability.
So spike testing once. Spike testing once again, please.
Okay, spike testing is nothing but, for an example, there is an application. So now I'll be abruptly giving some users, 1,000 users, and I'll give 500 users, 2,000 users, 100 users, and 50 users. And again, 1,000 users, 2,000 users. Now, if you see here, I'm abruptly giving that particular users on the application, and I'll measure and see whether the application is stable and working speed and all. So now on one side, I was giving this load, and I'll not find. See, now you went to Amazon and then you will be placing an order. You don't know what it was happening, but behind the application, Amazon server, there are some lakhs and lakhs of rupees, the lakhs and lakhs of people are working on it. For everyone, it should be a normal behavior. To get into this particular normal behavior, the application will go under the vigorous testing. So they will be giving a lot of load, and then they will see it. Means abruptly, there will be no rhythmic process. They will give abrupt loads and then they will check it. At the same time, they will be having a rhythmic structure of load. They will give it and then they will check it. So those all things will be falls under the category of the spike testing.
Okay, sir.
Any other questions?
To give a load based on the capacity load, or
I didn't got it, Shruti. What you're asking?
in spike, while doing spike testing, how much load we will give, sir? I mean, greater than the capacity load, or less than the capacity load?
Only greater than the capacity load will be done in the stress testing. If your application broken, can you proceed further with your testing? No. Then you shouldn't give that one. See, now randomly, once you need to know that you broke the system, and then you can get it. But every time you are breaking it, so how you will test your application?
Okay.
So in spike testing, always this should be in the permissible load, but still that would be an abruptable load.
Okay.
So say, for example, this application having the capacity of 5,000, I'll give 4,000, 1,000, 2,000, 1,000, 500, 200, and 0, once again 10, 30, 200, 1,000, 4,000. See, if you see it, randomly I'm giving that load.
Okay.
If I'm doing that, see, if I'm giving that extreme condition to this, so the application will break. The stability will be missing. Or application will get crashed. So those things to do it, so we will do the spike testing.
Yes, sir.
See, the objective of
Like in example can be this one, sir.
is triple S. So now the triple S is a basic objective of all the categories of testing. Someone is asking questions.
Sir, spike testing, can we consider example of IRCT in some festival time? In
Now,
that
let's go
point,
for endurance. So endurance, it is called as longevity test and soak test. What do you mean by soak? Soaking.
how
What do
much
you mean by
it
a soak test?
how much it can absorb? How much it can absorb?
Filtering.
Okay, soaking means what? At least soaking. Okay, I said
For,
soaking is nothing but I wanted to make wash of my clothes. Okay, so I'll keep all the things in a bucket water. I'll keep that one. I'll keep the cloths for some time in the water. That is called soaking, right? Why we will keep that one in soaking? So that if I keep that one into the soaking, so when I try to wash that particular cloth, it is very easy to remove the dirt from the particular cloth. So now what I'll try to do, I wanted to drain my cloths in water for a certain time, so which is called soaking. The same way, I'll drain my application with a load for a time. This is called longevity time, endurance time, and all. So what do you mean by here means the endurance, the name itself saying that endurance, sustainability. So now what you wanted to do is, I take this application and I'll give the load of 2000 users and I'll keep it for 24 hours, 48 hours, 50 hours, and I'll do for 72 hours. It depends upon your requirement. Means with that particular load, how much time you will be sustaining, how much long time you'll be doing it. So if you see some big boss programs, they will be keeping this endurance, means they will give some weight, means they will see that, for an example, you can easily lift 10 kilos. Keeping the 10 kilos with your arms, you can do it. But for how much time you can do it is matter. So, you can keep it for a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. But if he asks you to hold the 10 kilo rod straight with your straight hand for 1 hour, can you do that? So that is what the endurance. Sustainability capacity. So that would be derived on this one. So now we will be understanding the capabilities and the stability, means the sustainability of that particular application. How long this can be there. It will be monitored the heartbeat of the application. See, these are little bit advanced concepts, getting the socket connections, getting the live heartbeats of the application and all. I'll not get into that, but endurance is nothing but seeing your capacity at a duration of time, certain duration of time with that particular load. So even this can be called as a durability testing also. Durability can vary from, means for an example, for 1 minute, 2 minutes, half an hour, 30 minutes, or 1 hour. So that is durability, but endurance will sustain for longer time. That's where it is calling as a longevity test. It will go for 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours. So like that, it will go for the longevity. Means we'll give, means application would have load of 2000 users, 3000 users, and 3000 users for 24 hours consistently, it will have the load. Sometime it should broken. So till what time it can load is what they wanted to see. Our objective is we need to broken. So now here in the stress testing and the endurance testing is where we will break the system. In terms of breaking the system, but in terms of spike and scalability and then volume, we will abruptly giving these particular weights at that point of time, even the system can break. Because I was giving 100, 200, 100, 200, 200, 200, 300, 400. Continuously, when I'm giving that load at one point of time, the application will broken. So that is how each category of testing, the major ultimate objective of the performance testing, anything, it is to break the system with these loads. So this is what called as endurance testing. Volume testing. Volume is nothing but the name itself. It was saying, hey, give me a big number of volume, means more number of users, heavy load. When we given a heavy load, and then we will see it on this particular heavy loads, how the application will perform. We will not try to break. We will not try to see it. Actually, the volume testing also nearing to the load. That's the reason I means load volume is heavy load. Per concurrent users or abrupt users will be giving it, and then we'll be testing on this. So this is called a volume testing. So now overall, this particular classification of 6 categories, which it will brings you to the performance testing. So this is one of the type non-functional testing, and under this non-functional testing, performance plays a very vital and crucial role. This is how we will understand and learn and do the performance testing on application in the 360 degrees and see whether the application is stable, speed, and scalability. That is how we will do it. I'm sorry, I think I have been gone beyond the time. So this is where it called as